Hi everyone, welcome back to the Transcript. My name is Margaret and I am ecstatic to bring you back another episode. I really want to say thank you to everyone for their support, and so many people asked about our episodes and when they're coming back. We went on a short summer break which was extended a little bit, but we are back in action. So if you haven't already, make sure you check out our previous episode, Money Matters Part 2, and we look at savings and investments. So today, we're going to be discussing what it looks like to be young and married. Stay tuned for this episode. So my question is, aren't you all a bit young for such a commitment? Like, why did you get married so young? Why couldn't you wait?
I think age is like growing up.
I don't really like that phrase, but I don't know. But in this context, it seems to just be volumes.
I think it's the aspect of maturity to it. So you can have a 19-year-old that's mature and he wants to get married. If he can feasibly then provide, go ahead. I don't think age has anything to do. I definitely feel like it's maturity.
Okay.
I think you hit one of the key points. There's certain things that I feel like our society needs to understand. It's nothing to do with age. You mentioned all of them, provided. Like, we need to know the role of a man. If you can analyze yourself and consider, look, I've got these qualities of a man, then yeah, I don't see why you can't get married. Back in the days, going back now, people used to get married young, and their marriage survived and lasted. Why? We're not growing up in a generation where it's make money first, buy the house, buy the car, do this first. Guys, you'll be doing it till you're 50. It's long. No, it's true. Like, I mean, some people, fantastic. They can do that by the age of 30, but I feel like if that's all you're going to chase, then you miss the mark.
I feel like society in general want to force us to do things their way, and if I'm too young, when will I be old enough? Do you understand? So for example, in this day and age, they're saying a child of 5, 6 can define whether they want to be a boy or a girl at such an age. I'm saying I want to get married at 23, 24, and you're telling me I'm too young. But you're telling your 5, 6-year-old child that if they want to be, so you want to push your ideas, your ideologies, philosophies on me. I'm making a decision that I know what I'm getting myself into. It's not something that I just want to do because I feel like it. I understand the implications of what I'm getting into. Because do you get, marriage is a covenant, and a covenant is something that God respects and honors and takes very seriously. So if I'm not going to take it very seriously, then I'm taking a mick, and obviously God is going to hold me accountable. When people are saying you're too young, I'm just like, you're too old and you're messing around. You're 30 something, you're 40 something, you're 50 something, you're still messing around. So when are you going to settle down? You're not too old, you were not too old to mess around, but I'm too young to get married and make a serious decision with my life.
Another one for me is, obviously Paul says it's better to marry than to burn. Now, I ain't saying that, that was my main reason. But it's one of the things that made me speed things up, because it's funny, all of these people, majority of these people, I don't want to put a blanket statement out there, but a lot of people that be saying, why are you waiting, are not waiting themselves. They're burning and they're actually satisfying these cravings that they have. The Lord has created us with certain desires. Yes. So those desires, there's nothing wrong with satisfying those desires given its correct context. And obviously for us, the correct context as Christians is within marriage. So in order to satisfy that desire, it's not like we run headlong into marriage and be like, okay, let's satisfy this with beasts. But it's one of the things that it's one of the things that you think of. If someone is burning, there's no wisdom in saying, oh, I don't want to get married because that's all I want to do. So instead of me falling into sin or falling into temptations, I put things in place so that I can get married sooner.
But then at the same time, I think one thing I've encountered with the roasting, the burning situation is that, especially a lot of young Christians, especially guys, once you get married and you fulfilled your sexual need or whatever, a lot of people are not clued up as to what marriage is about. And so when they take that scripture out of context and just like, yeah, I was burning. Okay, when you finish burning, what happens next? You forget that food has to be on the table. You forget that you have to meet the emotional needs of your wife. You forget that your marriage has to reflect the image of Christ and the church. In terms of marriage, especially as a young man, understanding that it's about the commitment to your wife. It's about being able to provide some sort of security, be a protector, be a provider, and everything else that the Bible stipulates or shows us what a godly man should be. That is what should be at the forefront of your mind. Even though sex comes as part of marriage, it's not just about sex. And I think you'll find out that when you speak to a lot of married men, sex is one part of a big picture.
Yeah, I think off the back of what he said, there's a skewed understanding of what marriage is. Like usually when you come up with opposition from people saying, oh, you're too young, they usually have a worldview of what marriage is, as if it's like a, you're losing, almost like a contract, like you're losing part of yourself. You're giving, you're not living, you're giving so much, you're being under so much constraint. So it's marriage in that realm is seen as an absolute negative thing. So if you're looking at from their view, of course they justify by saying, why would you do this? But the understanding of what true marriage is, the blessing, the covenant with God, it's a fantastic thing.
Just to add to that quickly, I remember the day before I was getting married, 2 of my guys who were unsaved, they called me, they were like, bro, we're just calling you. Are you sure about what you're doing? Like the day before, like literally, they were like, are you sure? They were like, because they just don't understand. It was not, I didn't take offense to it. They were like, bro, we just, how is it that you're ready to give away your life? And I'm like, if you understood what I've been through and what I've sat down to understand about marriage, I know what I'm getting myself into. They just couldn't get their head around it because they just feel like you're just being tied down for the rest of your life. And obviously in the world, as a guy, like, you can move to as many girls, you can sleep with as many girls in that sense of freedom. So when you're saying that it's just one woman for the rest of your life, they're like, bro, we've been about, and you're saying one woman for the rest of your life. So I think it's a blessing when young Christian people can come out and show the world this is what true marriage looks like. It's when we're not showing how perfect we are, because we're not perfect, but we're showing you that two imperfect people are making a perfect commitment before God to stay together until death do them part. Do you understand? And I think the world can be like, bro, what type of commitment is that? Because the world don't see commitment properly. One day I say it, one day I give up. When the world sees, okay, you know what, my wife is annoying me today, but I still love her. My husband is annoying me today, but I still love him. People will be like, what type of love is this? What type of commitment is this that you guys are making? We want to know. And I think
in marriage, especially for us young people, it's important to not just start well, but actually endure well. Finish well. So that these people that are around us, when they see us starting, Lord willing, if He spares us life, 20 years down the line, 30 years down, they're looking and they're still thinking, these people are still holding true to their commitment. You know, and it's all well and good if you have a big wedding and everyone's there and everyone's seeing that you can actually hold a commitment for a few days. But a few years down the line, it's a completely different story.
Trust me.
I can't lie. Like a lot of people who have got married like many years ago, it's still a bit of a shock sometimes, especially if they're young. Like, oh wow, like you guys are still married to this, like. That commitment in this day and age is just not as weighty as it was before, or as it is to some people. So it is like, wow, like thank God you guys are still married.
You know what's funny? I find that offensive.
I was just about to say that.
When people are like, wow, you're still together.
I just want to say that.
I can't like, it's I don't know, it's a passion.
But you know, I totally understand, but it's just a reality.
No, it is. It's
a sad reality.
No one actually said it to me, but
no one said it.
People you got married this year. People do.
No, but honestly, we had a guest round in our house just there, and she was saying that a friend of theirs got married, and within 2 months it was annulled. Like this. So I mean, you're completely right. Is the understanding of commitment is wrong, and just the intention.
Being intentional.
The intentions behind the commitment is probably not right either. So.
You said that some people want to grind and make money before they get married. How would you respond to some guys who genuinely feel like girls are not necessarily interested in me? I'm sorry. Because I'm not. It's not that they don't work, or it's not that they're not stable. It's just that they don't have enough. Like
If you put a trap out here
yeah.
and you put cheese on it, you're likely to get a rat here. If you put a mouse here, you're likely to get a snake come for that. Yeah. So what you put out there is what you're gonna get. That's not the type of woman that you clearly.
If you put gold out there, we're gonna get.
Amen.
Hey,
We don't want no gold digger.
I would already question. That guy should question his mindset.
Yeah.
And question the mindset of the people that he's approaching if they're saying, oh, you haven't got enough. And bear in mind, in this life, you will never have enough.
Because it was one of my mindset, so I feel like I can talk about it. I thought to myself, you know what, I need to save this much money. I need to bought this house or this, that, and other. I thought there was an image which I needed to for myself to not so much to attract it, because even during our courtship, I thought, okay, let me save up enough money, let me do this, let me do that. But I think it's an understanding that you're always, like you said, you're always going to be working. You're always going to want a bigger house because let's say you have more children or there's always going to be something. But as long as you and the lady understand that it's a work in progress and you're always literally going to be working, then being humble solves everything. Humble yourself, live within your means.
Yeah.
That's simple.
So young men, like, don't feel pressure to live up to what people think marriage is. Before it used to be people were thinking about marriage, like the house was for marriage and stuff like that. It's even shifted from that. It's I need to save up money for the wedding. So it's about the glitz and the glamour of one day, and marriage is of one day, as we know. So when I get upset when a lot of young men are just like, you know, I'm saving up. You know, what about the wedding day? What about the video? I'm like, bruh, so that's what you want to save up for when marriage goes a lifetime. Don't let any woman put you under that pressure. I find that men don't hear a lot of this when it comes to marriage. So men don't feel under pressure to live a life that you can't live, you can't afford. Because I know guys that are trying to do this loan thing for rings, or they're doing like rings on finance and interest, and it's just like, guys, don't put yourself under pressure to live a certain way that you can't.
Even if you're not in a relationship right now, I think the wisest thing to do is start preparing to avoid all of that. Stop living lavishly if you can't sustain it consistently. If you can't go out every day to go and buy Gucci, don't buy Gucci. Prepare now for the future. Once you're in marriage, it's a different ball game. Like, you have to always understand that you're responsible for a woman.
And can I just throw in one thing I've learned about marriage is that women are the real bosses.
Hashtag
forever.
We're coming to that.
I think it takes a man to live within a means. And if we're saying there's a skewed understanding of what marriage is, that means we're saying there's a skewed understanding of what being a man is. There's a skewed understanding of what being a woman is.
100%.
Then we're just saying there's a skewed understanding of what being just a person is.
100%. I mean, we're not saying everyone has a skewed, but I feel like
the culture
we live in doesn't promote men to be men and women to be women. It promotes something else that's not that's not compatible for marriage. Because
it's almost like a blend.
Where it promotes us to be very selfish. That we live a very selfish-centered life. And that always makes marriage hard. Even to even think about marriage, it makes it hard because like you got a lot of us just touch on it. You're thinking, but you can't do this, you can't do that.
It's always what you can't do.
Just to quickly touch on the topic of how do you know when you're ready before you actually get married. A word of advice is not to be so tunnel vision, not to be so close-minded. I must have this by the time I'm 24, I must have this by the time I'm 26. Because, listen, we are not the captain of our souls. Like, life happens, you know, and with that stuff you were saving, literally tomorrow could be gone. Then what? Or you can get into marriage, even all of those accomplishments that you've achieved, you get into marriage and all of a sudden it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Something can happen in marriage, then what? You're going to be depressed. Don't be so close-minded. You have to be able to realize that, like you said, be humble about life. I don't control my life. Though you might have plans, there's nothing wrong with planning, but your plans are not something.
Like leadership, understanding what leadership is. Leadership is not shouting command. Leadership is setting example, like leading by example. That's, for me, that's what like you're serving your wife, you're serving the family.
Know your wife's strengths and let her exceed in
Yes,
those
sir.
areas. So if she's good at, I know everyone says the man has to lead, so it's to be in control, whatever, blah blah blah.
That
if she's better at, let's say, handling money, like maybe she's got a finance degree.
Yeah, go for it.
And you, fam, give it up, innit? So know your wife's strengths and let her lead.
Like a good leader knows how to find the strengths and work to the
Leaders
strengths. Leaders don't do everything.
That's something else. Like that leader thing is not like that.
It's
When you understand what leadership is, you understand that it's not command. Like they've got their strength, and we need to utilize that. She utilizes my strength. I use hers. We build a family, build a culture together.
Yeah. Ultimately, if a man wants to learn what it means to be a man, especially in marriage, is to look at Christ and how Christ served the church, his relationship with the church, what he did for the church, what he does for the church, and that's your blueprint.
Men need to be disciplined. That's one thing that is not necessarily promoted amongst men. Men are kind of encouraged to live the way that they live. You hear stuff like, boys will always be boys, men will always be men, and that's not what a man truly is. But unfortunately, younger ones growing up and people in general are like, you know what, just because this is what we see every day, this is most likely what a man is. And men lack discipline. Like, guys, go to the gym. You know, if you want to get the results, you're going to have to put in a steady schedule. You're going to have to be disciplined with what you eat. So if you can do it for gym, basic stuff like reading your Bible and praying, how is it that you don't manage to get it? And I think also being mentored by men who've been there already. Before I got married, the amount of process that I went to go and sit down under and say, please, but I need to understand what I'm getting myself into. Speaking to my dad, and I say to people, my dad is my greatest hero after Jesus Christ. Literally, he showed me a pattern of what a man should be like, and I've seen it since I was born, how he treated my wife. And I look, my mum. Sorry guys. Okay, well, they're still together, nearly 30 years of marriage, but sitting under men who are knowledgeable, who can give you good counsel as well, because trust me.
Ace of Spades. I'm very excited. I don't know if you guys know, but I've actually contacted your wives. Yeah, I'm going to ask you guys some questions.
Babe, I'm sorry in advance. I'm sorry in advance.
I know you don't trust.
E-Man is always sorry.
I'm sorry.
Ready? What is the most romantic thing your wife has said that you have done? Hearts.
Who's that?
Time's up.
E-Man try!
What is your wife's favourite thing that you do on a daily basis? Clubs.
That's a question.
Kiss her on the forehead when I'm leaving for work.
That's cute.
Nice. Where was your first date? Spades.
Calm. It was ZZ in Romford. Yeah.
What is your wife's favourite meal that you have cooked?
Oh my days.
Diamonds.
That's me. That would be breakfast.
Beans on toast.
You didn't say specific, did you? Specifically the meal.
It's a meal.
The meal. Are you asking for the meal? The actual meal. Alright,
Your time is up, bro.
Nah. You didn't say specific, did it?
That dinner.
I know.
Cereal.
It's cold.
It actually doesn't matter if you know it.
Right.
Man
You
said
know what, yeah?
breakfast. Wow.
You know what? Because I cook like a plethora of meals. Yeah.
Such as.
Probably. That's what I'm saying. I'm about my business.
What do you do that makes your wife cringe? Clubs.
Yeah.
Man said-
Poke my tongue out.
Is it? Nasty boy.
What briefly happened when you first met? Hearts.
Brunel, you were on the strip, you were chilling with your girls. I saw you, you were standing at the side. You were not a side girl, babe. But yeah.
How did you get your wife's number?
Jeez.
Diamonds.
So basically,
Game.
She actually got my number.
Yeah.
Yeah, she asked me. She promised me cakes. I was like, so where's my cakes? Next time I saw her, she was like, how am I gonna give you the cakes if I ain't got your number?
Buzz.
Yeah, you get me? So I was like, oh, I see what you're doing. You know what I mean? I said, oh, I see what you're doing there. Alright, take the number, innit?
So guys, back to our discussion. What has been the hardest challenge so far being married?
Dying to self every day, like you said. Sacrificing every day, just remembering that there's another person which in your life, because I've obviously been single for about 26 years before I got married. Before then, my mum obviously and dad poured love on me, centre of attention. Now I have to think about another person.
Is it like some of the activities you used to do, for example, you have to now think?
It's like sharing food, like.
Sure.
Or like, so sometimes, we'll be chilling. You have your drink, I have my drink. She'll cane her drink. Boom! Gone. And me, I like to finish my food, I have the drink there, watch this, like, she'll be eyeing it. And I see her eyeing it, I'm like, don't touch my drink. Stop taking my drink. So it's little stuff. It's little stuff. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's the struggle though, that's the struggle. Okay, right?
That's the challenge.
That's the challenge. Yeah. So
for me, it's been adapting. Not so much that you change your personality so much. It's not that you become a different person entirely, but you really do have to compromise, and you really do have to find a middle ground. Yeah. You can't come into marriage being like, this is how I've lived all my life, so deal with it. You're setting yourself up for failure. And I think one of the main things for me was sort of like my emotional awareness or my emotional intelligence, like I said. I come from a family where we're just not that emotional. Yeah. We just don't really cry much, don't really share our emotions like that so much. Gabby, my wife, opposite spectrum. Like she cried during Frozen. But no, she's a very emotional person, and for me, I now had to learn how to be empathetic and just to understand her feelings, to understand how she sees and interpret things. And the thing with emotions is, and especially with two people on such different spectrums, it can be very challenging. So we've both had to learn and compromise on certain things. And just
with adjusting as well, for men and women, one thing you will find is that coming into your marital home with ways and patterns of which things happen in your house. It might be something small like what you do Saturday mornings. Are you chilling, or do you come from a house where everyone kind of gets up and tidies up? Just try not to take your patterns which you've grown up knowing as the norm, and rightly so, and not enforcing it on the other person, so to speak.
And dying to yourself, like the food thing. That is very real. Like you're eating your own. You've gone out. You've got your own little plate. He's got own little plate. Oh, what's that? Oh,
trust, man. The menu's there for you to.
So you know what? We're one, isn't it?
We're one. It's only been a couple of months, so I can't really speak too much, I guess. But I can say it's been because my wife. Brownie points time. Because my wife is so understanding. She's actually made marriage easy for me. Wow. In that sense. So.
I'm also a couple months. I mean, but I do think that's probably when people say it's the most challenging, like the first few months, and that's all I heard. Literally, the first few months. I think it says marriage is challenging just because it's two people coming together anyway.
Simple as.
I think because we had counselling, solid counselling, sound counselling.
You know what? We actually
we had the same counsellor. So because we had that, we're almost like, okay, this is gonna come. So let's make sure we're ready for it. So it's been an easier transition than I guess normally because of that sound. I would encourage everyone to seek some sound counselling.
Yes.
And if you need someone, holler at me. I can hook you up for small fees.
For sure.
Ignore the small fees, please.
No,
ignore it.
You know what? It's not been easy, and I think sometimes I just let the pressure get to my head because I'm like, I need to ensure that there's food on the table. I need to make sure that my wife is happy. You know, you hear people say the first year is challenging, but even at that, once again, I get annoyed with that because it's like some people are trying to preempt trouble. And I'm like, I know life will happen, but just don't preempt my issues for me. So like we did have challenging times, you know. I lost my job in the first year of marriage, so many different things. So literally you're just like, how's it gonna happen? How's it gonna work? But you know what, God is faithful. There are challenges, but you have to understand. One thing I'm coming to the realization of is that I am not God. I can't solve all the problems. I can't, you know, I can't answer all the questions. So I have to just be in a place where I'm just like, you know what, whatever I can do, I'm going to do it best. Even if it doesn't work, even if it does work, I'm just going to do what I've been commanded to as a man to do. I just want to make a suggestion. I feel like there needs to be more forums for young men in marriage and young men in general, like just to sit down and talk about real stuff. Because at the end of the day, we're not there, we don't know it all, and we need help. And I think that would be so beneficial.
Yeah, when you've got a good woman, you find out that you put pressure on yourself. Because the pressure's not coming from them.
100%.
Most times it's me putting pressure on myself, then I realise, why am I doing that?
You want the best for her. And I think one of the ways I think I've dealt with it is communication. And you're gonna get this all the time, and that you need to communicate, but no one can stress it enough. Communication really just deals with all of it, because the stress you're putting on yourself, when you can actually communicate it to your wife, and you actually understand she doesn't want what you don't think she wants. It brings you. So I think communication is the best way, aside from literally just place it all on the Lord's hand, just letting him deal with it, and you know you're only communicating it just to move forward. It's easier, but because sometimes you can just want to express your anger for no reason, and then you just made a bigger issue out of something that you could have just controlled.
It's hard. Listen, it's hard, especially. I don't. Obviously, every different guy is different, but for myself, it was hard learning how to communicate.
Still learning it.
You still. I
think it's just a general thing for men.
I think it's difficult. So when we say communicate, we're not saying just do it. It's something you're definitely gonna have to work on and think about daily. And am I communicating? How can I communicate more effectively?
Because I think for guys, communication is I'm doing it.
Whereas
for women, it's more than just doing it. It's let's sit down and talk. Let's sit down and discuss.
So crazy what you might have said. I mean, you two are saying you haven't been married for long, but you're saying everything that I was about to say, in the sense that there came a point in my marriage where something happened, and I really needed to be strong for Gabby, like emotionally, and just be very present there for her. And you know, it's almost like I put an S on my chest, and I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna be strong and sturdy. And it helped in some degree, in some measures, and of course it wasn't perfect. And that's one thing I want to stress. As men, you touched on it lightly. We are not perfect. You know, we are not the supermen that we think we are going to be in certain situations. We have to realize, like you said correctly, that we're limited. We are actually finite beings. So of course you do your best. You rely upon the grace of God, but you honestly convey to your wife on a daily basis. Never be afraid to apologize. Just you see your faults, she sees it before you see it. You know, so never,
that's why I said sorry. Guys are watching. I said you need to be familiar with sorry.
You think you've got this image that is, you know, it can't. There's no chinks on the armor. She's seen it all even before you actually appreciate it for yourself. So always be honest with your wife. You know, I'm trying my best, and I'm trying to help you. I'm not perfect. And you don't just. You're married now. You're one with someone else. You can't just run headlong with your plan and think I'm going to fix everything. And Gabby, your wife is not going to notice. It's a journey, and that's one thing that the situation I was talking about actually made me realize. You're actually doing life with your partner. It's like you're actually doing life, and that comes with the highs, that comes with the lows, but you're doing it together.
How did you guys know this was the woman that you wanted to spend the rest of your life with?
Marriage is about commitment. So it's not me now saying that I'm finding that she's not the one. But, but you know, it's if you're going in with that mindset of I'm going to be committed to this woman, come rain or shine or whatever. You know, that one almost becomes the one standard. Again, this is me not saying I realize that Gabby's not the one. We are finite beings, so we can never actually know the future, or we can never actually know the person that we're planning to spend the rest of our lives with. There comes a point where you actually have to just commit it to the Lord. You know, of course, you do your homework and you do your scouting and your background check. You check
DBS.
You check her family, and families become interwoven and stuff like that. If you're building that up on she must be the one before I enter into a relationship with her, you're never going to find the one. You're never going to find the one.
I think being specific, number one was the fact that she saw the faults in me and still loved me regardless. And number two was how she helped me with my walk, my growth in Christ. Those two things that I saw very early on were invaluable.
Don't be afraid to ask questions as well. Discussing certain things, and you can tell where a heart and a head is from little conversations you have. I know some people might have been in prior relationships. Things you were talking about, you just knew that, okay, this one's never going to get it. This is going to affect me in the future. But you have these conversations. I don't know what it could be for some people, different things. It could be where you want to stay in the future. Like, do you intend staying in England? If she's like, no, never, and you're like, yeah, this is me, that could be a question. But just certain conversations allowed you to clarify certain things about what you want for the future as well.
You have to be realistic. You know, the lady of your dreams doesn't exist. In your dreams, you're not imagining yourself being some, impatient person, or your wife is going to be doing those kind of things that get on your nerves and stuff. It's common for what you said in terms of those early communications. You know, is this someone I can actually marry? Is this someone that wants to own 5 of the biggest companies in London, and she's not doing anything in the house anymore? You know, it's those conversations that you start to realise that actually maybe this woman is not for me.
Which I think most of them things in and of themselves are not wrong, but just wrong, just not right for you.
It's not for you. Exactly.
How has marriage changed you?
Marriage will cause you to change by force because of what marriage demands of you. It's as simple as that. Whatever, marriage is something that's very costly, and so it's gonna. If we're talking about sacrifice will cost you something. Anything of value will cost you something. So marriage is going to cost you your time, your effort, your emotions, your physical ability. Even now, like my boys that are not married, they're like, you know what, we get it, because Emmanuel's married. Like, you can't you can't come out to play football all the time. It might not be nice at first because we were all single once, and when we were all single, everyone was chilling. Now everyone's married, and some people get offended, and they're like, oh, they're trying to switch up on us.
Even off the back of those marriage jokes, you know, you're on lock and key now, you're on padlock and stuff like that. I just think it's so dumb because, like, if you had,
I'm sending for you with that. Whoever said that to me, I'm sending for you. So it's dumb.
Oh, so dumb. If you were to have like some sort of business venture that you had, you would dedicate the time. You will dedicate whatever it is. So whether it's going out with your boys, no, I need to sort this out. Or if you had coursework or exams or anything like that, you'll dedicate the time and get rid of the stuff that you don't need. In marriage, you're dedicating yourself to a person, and still you want to be selfish with your time. I think you have to be serious about your marriage. It's those people that don't understand the concept of commitment and the concept of actually, I'm one with this woman now. So my time is now obviously one with her, and my all my resources one with this person. So of course things will change in that regard, but it's not a negative change.
So my last question is, would you guys honestly encourage young men towards marriage?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
I would encourage mature men.
Okay, cool.
I was going to say yes or no, and then provide a bit more caveat.
I was also going to say yes and no.
Don't copy.
Yes.
Getting married young is not the end of your life. Like, you'll be okay after you get married.
Yes.
You'll be fine.
We're still alive, and that's a good sign.
Healthy, I'm eating.
Hey, eating too much, man. I'm eating.
That's it. Trust me. That's it. If you're concerned about gym, man, all these kind of body-looking wonderful bodies, don't get married. Because you double.
I struggled at first. I put on the belly, bro. I'm in my good days now. I'm in my good days right now, man.
Especially the honeymoon. Oh my word. That's where it starts. The honeymoon is where I just let go.
Like, I've always been into fitness and keeping fit, but after I got married I slacked off, and people were taking pictures and stuff like that. And so this year I was doing a particular fitness challenge, and then the missus showed me a picture of us last year, and I looked at myself, and I can't lie, people were making certain comments and I didn't understand. So people were like, oh, you got to put on a little belly now, and I was like, nah, like, I'm still in gym, like, I'm good. I looked at the picture and I was like, nah, you know what, babe, we can't go back to these days. So the honeymoon period is over.
That is so crazy.
I can't lie. I'm eating good, I can't lie. Mrs. is treating me well, but listen, I'm still young.
There's no other caution than a 30-something-year-old that's trying to get married. I think it's if this brother is mature. How old is Brian? He's 23, just got married. Like that's a mature brother. So if you're mature and you're ready in terms of you can provide and practical aspects.
Obviously seeking counsel and counsel and referring back to what the true intention of marriage is, not what the media plays for you or what any of us really say, but really go and understand what marriage is, the intention why God created marriage.
Yeah.
Then if you can say, I can live this, then I'll say step into it.
The flip side is also true as well. There is no rush to get to marriage.
That's what I was going to say.
I hope that's not the sort of image that's been portrayed. That oh my gosh, I have to start getting married now. I'm thinking about it. There's no rush at all. But you and yourself, you know when you're ready.
Yeah, 100%.
And don't let the age factor be a thing. Married now.
Alrighty, guys. I have to say a massive thank you to my guests for today. I thoroughly enjoyed this discussion. Thank you so much for watching the show. Thank you so much to my guests. I look forward to you seeing the next episodes. Why did I say that so drowsy? I look forward to...
Wowza.
That was
We look forward to seeing you soon. Make sure you stay tuned, locked, and watch the next episode. Peace. Because when you were living lavish before, you were buying Gucci. This time, when they said it's time to buy a couch, it's time to buy flat paper. We just buying everything. We need.
Aren't you bit... Wow. Can I speak? Sorry.
The fact that I had so much.
Sorry, I can hear Ruby at the door. So I'm so sorry, you're going somewhere.
From my wife, qualities are sore.
I'm sorry, I just burped. I'm sorry. Could you start again? I just burped. Sorry.
Oh.
I'm sure they picked it up.
That wasn't one of the qualities I said.
Wow. Home training. Home training.
I'm sorry.
Hey, see when you leave, are you taking the snacks with you or?
No.
Nah, the proper food is coming.
No, Sam.